Hey guys, Ron here, and many years ago I made a video where I showcased a lot of Fakemon I made way before I made my channel. These were designed when I was between the age of 13 and 17. But that video was odd, because I didn't really do anything with it. I didn't redesign any of the Pokemon I showed you guys or anything, but now that I've been making Fakemon on this channel for a couple of years, I'm gonna retread this concept a little differently. How about I show you a bunch of Fakemon I made when I was a literal child, not a teenager, designs I drew between the age of 7 and 11, and then I'll pick a couple of the ones that stuck out to me and redesign them. But keep in mind, it's not like any of these have actually good concepts. In fact, most of them are knockoffs of existing Pokemon. But what will be interesting and fun will be attempting to infuse some of these drawings with actual inspirations and genuine concepts to showcase my growth, and to show you guys that even a child can create a cool character. So please, leave a like and subscribe if you want this to become a series. But just like how I'm going to show you guys all these old designs in one video, today's sponsor, Squarespace, is the all-in-one website platform. Whether you're a blogger, artist, entrepreneur, or student, securing your own website is incredibly important for anybody's future. So in order to create a beautiful website, you'll need the tools that Squarespace offers. With its fluid engine, you can start designing with their best-in-class website templates and customize every design detail with their easy drag-and-drop technology. It's almost like an exciting game trying to find the perfect template and designs that represent you as a brand. Using Squarespace, you can showcase content of yours by hosting videos, post your entire art portfolio, sell your products, display all your social links, schedule posts, and do more than I can describe in this single ad spot. I mean, it's literally your own website, so the possibilities are endless, and Squarespace is there to help you reach your website's full potential. So check the description and go to squarespace.com/truegreen7 to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. It'll help support the channel a great deal and will help you build your own future. I'm personally very interested in what you'll do with Squarespace, so please take screenshots of the websites that you design with Squarespace and tweet them at truegreen7. I can't wait. Now, when I was a kid, I drew most of the Fakemon inside these notebooks. I'm not going to show you every Fakemon. We want to save a couple for a potential part 2 after all. But here is book number 1. You'll notice how these Pokemon don't really have concepts. Tygon is cute and all, but what even is it? It becomes Tie-Eye, but I can't say what Tie-Eye is. Just an Ice Steel monster. But as you can see, then it devolves into literal bootleg Pokemon. This was during Gen 3. I love me some Hoenn legendaries. But then Miko here cuts through the plagiarism. I literally don't know what Miko is, but I love him. I don't know if I can redesign him because he literally has no concept whatsoever. What is Miko? He's the mascot of this potential series. How about any artist watching this, if you want to redesign Miko, post it on Twitter and tag me, I guess, because I'm not going to redesign him. But then we're right back to plagiarism. Some seahorses and some ground types that absorb and dig. Some bugs, like that's the concept, just beetles, coral. You'll see a lot of sea serpents since they're the easiest to draw. Look at this tiny Larvin. It's just a Magby, honestly. And Safgem is a sapphire with eyes. Dolphus is pretty handsome, not gonna lie. Pretty good drawing for that age. And I loved how it evolved into a shark. Forskfin was the goat. Okay, now I'm kind of realizing the name is kind of sus. This is literally just the Hariyama line. Oh my god, look at Pino! It's Pino! But next to the obvious Blastoise is this Chinchou and Lantern knockoff. But what's cool is that the final evolution is this sun with like 20 antennas. I like the idea of a friendly sun Pokemon. We have Solrock, but what if there was a Pokemon that represented the entire solar system? This Sundos guy kind of reminds me of a solar system model. So how about instead of a sun with antenna rays, I create a gem that represents the sun that is surrounded by a bunch of other gems that represent planets, all situated on a space rock. So for Sundos, we're making sure it's not flat anymore. It's got depth. The face is a big gem in the middle attached to the main rock, with tiny gems laid out as if they were planets orbiting a sun gem in the middle. I'm incorporating the spherical nose, but trying to take inspiration from classical drawings of the sun with a human face. But I don't want it to be a literal human eye. I added stars in the eyes, and instead of patterns beneath the eyes, these lines that'll tie into the lines that I will add on the rock later. I decided that instead of tiny hands, it'll have crystal spikes coming out of it, like the rays of a sun, but in order to make it look more cosmic and otherworldly, I actually returned the eyes to the original triangle shape and gave it these lines that look like the mask of a cosmic warrior, like Ultraman, but also alluding to the eyebrows of the sun with the face drawing I was talking about before. I added lines that represent the path the planets take around the sun, but honestly, I didn't want this thing to look like a cell, and I wanted to make it a little bit more obvious that this guy was a meteor from space, so I thought it would be interesting if the back of the rock was jagged with a completely flat face, almost as if this was a meteor that was cut in half, revealing this Pokemon and the various gems inside the meteor. It basically launches itself at opponents with its face almost like a battering ram, just refining the gems so they have some kind of order. I even added these star-like patterns on its rock. You know how you sometimes pick up a rock and notice that it's all glittery? That's kind of what this is alluding to. I want the rock to represent the night sky and the gems as celestial bodies. The colors are obvious, but I do want to make sure you can basically tell which gems represent Earth and Jupiter. Obviously not an accurate size. I didn't even want it to look too specifically like our solar system. The shading really helps you understand how the sun gem is more translucent than the other gems. They glow with light. Say hi to Sysgem, the charged Pokemon, are rock and electric type, from System and Gem. This friendly Pokemon have been observed to fall from the sky. Scientists believe they come from outer space, looking for a source of electricity. They charge into opponents, merrily bashing them with the front of their face at full force. The main gem in the center appears to be the face. It glows so brightly that at times, it's tough to look at. The gems that orbit it glow in a pattern as it communicates. They have the abilities Levitate and Galvanize, and their shiny is golden. God, does it feel good to give a rock electric type Levitate. Say thank you, guys. Honestly, I love the shape of this Pokemon. You never get a rock type with such a clean, flat cut in the rock. It's satisfying. It's a really happy and appealing Pokemon, but you can easily see how getting hit with one would really hurt. And the small face contrasts well with the rest of the relatively big body. It's a big rock. Cute, but clearly powerful. I love it. Book 2, baby! These were kind of designed when I was like 8 years old, I think. We got some shelled hamsters that become spiky shelled dogs, ghosts, and then this weird family that stemmed from the fact that as a kid, I think I thought Furret evolved into Sentret. So I made this Sentret Pikachu fusion that evolves into this thing. But the star of the show was Bear Pass. This was the Pikachu of all my Fakemon. The mascot. Just this edgy guy. I redesigned this thing, but I actually gave it an even cooler evolution later on. Perhaps we'll redesign that one instead. So keep your eyes peeled. These birds are cool. They could be contenders, honestly. But I think this line of Pokemon based on winter coats are my favorite so far. I could redesign Phalas? Unfortunate name. I think it's Phalas. Like Fat Alaskan. This is a top contender because I kind of know how I can redesign this one. But let's finish the book. I'm skipping through a bunch that I can save for a potential part 2. But that won't happen unless you absolutely love this video, so leave a like! This is a bird that gains a shell. I was obsessed with giving things shells as a kid for some reason. Okay, I remember designing this one after the season finale of Book 1 of Avatar: The Last Airbender premiered. It's inspired by the Koizilla in the season finale. But Clickot, which evolved into Corkinut, was my jam as a kid. I loved Corkinut. Corkinut is perfect in every way, and honestly, would look creepy if recreated, but you know what? I'm still thinking about Phalas. How about we create this furry being that has a coat made of ice blocks, like an igloo? The coat will be inspired by puffy North Face jackets fused with Inuit garb as well. Just a big boy with a big coat. Nothing better. Now, Phalas's shape and pose will be similar since I think that's kind of the appeal. Just a big static guy. But you'll notice the tiny feet. That implies that this Pokemon is actually relatively skinny and simply has a big coat of fur with an even bigger layer of snow blocks attached to it. But first, let's focus on the face. Instead of a big clown nose, I'll make it long and blocky. Still a big nose to be faithful. It won't be necessarily mad, but it ain't overjoyed. It's just vibing in the cold. Its eyes will be slits inspired by snow goggles, and the patterns on its belly are inspired by Inuit coats. I wanted to have various markings so it looks relatively tribal. Instead of the long ponytail, which was simply a copy of Hariyama's tassels, I interpreted it as a feather-like frills attached to the ridge of the nose. But once I added the puffy jacket hood, I began interpreting this guy as a puffy lion. Leaning into the feline aspects helped make this Pokemon look a bit less like a human later on in the design process. But before finishing the face, I want to add the segments on the jackets. It's wearing blocks of snow, so it looks like a moving igloo, but the configuration makes it look like a thick North Face jacket, finally giving it the face of a lion and showcasing these dogs. After refining it, I want to make sure it's clear that under the layer of snow blocks is heavy fur. Fixing it up before adding the icy colors, the face, hands, and feet almost look like they're frostbitten, while the name and body showcases the natural brown fur of this beast, just desaturating it to make it look cooler in the color temperature sense. Check out Igloom, the insulated Pokemon, an ice normal type, from Igloo and Loom, both the machine that's used in clothes making, but also something that is great and impending. Igloom live in the most extreme environments. They sense snowstorms with their nose and migrate before meeting one. Their soft mane and long body fur completely protects them from the cold. Blocks of snow accumulate on the top of Igloom, forming a protective coat. In battle, Igloom tanks a flurry of punches before swiping at its opponents with impressive force that can slice glaciers. They protect their cubs by encasing them inside their coats. If other Pokemon are caught in a blizzard, Igloom will invite them into their coat to weather the storm. Their tiny legs are able to carry the weight of their multiple coats, however speed is sacrificed in the process. They have the ability Snow Cloak and Thick Fat, with the ability Ice Body. Their shiny appears to be even more cold. It was really fun incorporating real-life inspirations into this Pokemon. When you're a kid, you don't realize how many cultural and biological origins Pokemon have, so it was pretty tight fleshing out each detail. Now, I was going to show you guys Book 3, but how about I save that for a potential Part 2? This video may flop and the secrets of Book 3 may never be known, but Book 4 still exists. These were designs I made at the age of 9, 10, or 11, I believe. Let's check them out. Still a lot of bootleg Pokemon. Even this line, which seems to be original, is just inspired by Aggron. I just love the name of these two Pokemon, Stegly and Otegly. Okay, oh my god, I thought I got over the whole copying Pokemon as I went into 4th and 5th grade, but these are still blatantly copied. Skipping over a bunch. This Otter line is pretty sick though. However, again, they have no concepts. This is literally just a realistic cicada. Swallow Wallow is pretty cool, and it evolves into Daijojo, because it digests. I did like Obel, but there he is, Bearslash, the evolved form of Bear Pass. This was the GOAT. Literally, I'm gonna take him, make him a little bit less like the creation of what an 11-year-old thinks is cool, and make the mountain goat aspects a bit more clear. I'm starting out by making my man more obviously goat-like. The pose will be tough to come up with since the original Bearslash has literally no pose, it's just a straight line. I guess the message I was trying to convey with the original art was as if we were snapping a picture of this guy in the wild. It doesn't want you to be there, it's uncomfortable, but goddamn are these sharp arms hard to pose. I think I will settle with a more animalistic posture since it's already looking hella humanoid. That's why I wanted the legs to be full-on satyr legs. The hair will stay. While I don't want it to be incredibly edgy, it still dabbles in edginess. I thought of giving it this eyeshadow pattern. A horn would be appropriate for a goat, and will be a neat way to interpret Bearslash's pointy pinhead. The eyeshadow took some time, and to finally make it a goat, a fitting nose was added. But the original patterns on Bearslash's face are completely inconsistent. We have triangles, lightning bolt scars, and some kind of trapezoid around the eyes. Let's connect them and make them look less on the nose. After all, the lightning bolt makes no sense at all. I mean, it's not electric type, and making it look like a scar would simply give it the look of a Zangoose, which I've been copying a bit too much lately. So instead, I gave it these connected patterns that allude to the original lightning bolt scar, but look way more natural and less like a 10-year-old's idea of cool. Although I still think facial scars are pretty cool. I translated the neck fur and extended it to the chest. I'm flipping it to notice any mistakes in the anatomy, although there will always be problems. Literal goat hooves with sharp ones instead of hands, translating the fire patterns I gave it into something less flame related. The colors were always purple, black, and white in my mind. It'll be fun to see how you guys interpreted the colors of these Fakemon before seeing them in the colors I imagined since childhood. Last minute I decided to go all in with some goat eyes so it doesn't look like a wolf. This is Bearslash, the loner Pokemon, a dark type from Beard and Slash. These Pokemon are extremely solitary to the point that they are one of the hardest to train. They are not necessarily uncivilized, but will often refuse to battle despite their impeccable aptitude for it. Their rock-hard claws are used for climbing vertical cliffs in order to isolate themselves. Bearslash run away from sudden noises and lights. There exists folklore from hundreds of years in the past about how Bearslash are actually ostracized humans who were banished for dishonoring their families and slowly turned feral. For centuries, this Pokemon was one of the last to be trained. The only known method of befriending Bearslash is by raising it since birth, usually after its egg is abandoned. These trained Bearslash only interact with their trainer though. They have the abilities Tough Claws and Sap Sipper. Their shiny is green for obvious reasons since we're kinda indulging in childhood Ron's interests. I think I managed to make a more mature version of what I originally imagined. I know a lot of you guys would have wanted me to indulge in the edginess of the original and basically keep every element, but while I tried to make it look less dated, I simply had fun translating every detail into something that I believed made way more sense. This was literally the mascot of all the Fakemon I made as a kid, so it's crazy to see it look more realistic. It's like meeting your imaginary friend. Let's finish off with some more designs from Book 4. Again, skipping some cool designs to save for later. Barbit was designed the week Steve Irwin died, so I can kinda date these designs now. Now, 2Wasp is, I'm not gonna even say it. Macrobrash is a bit scary. I see it. Oh, there is Bay Scratch, the baby form of the Bearslash line. Kinda like Magby and Elekid. The rest is yet to come, but for now, I'm thinking of revisiting Bekugja? I don't know, that name is nothing. Whatever. As a kid, I just thought Pokemon names were gibberish, so these names make no sense. It was kind of a mind-blowing experience when I realized every Pokemon had a reason for its name. I picked this one because I want to see how I can stray away from the Pikachu inspiration. With these patterns, I'm thinking of making an electric mammal that not only has flashy powers, but is literally flashy, with blinding lights on its body. Not just its cheeks like Pikachu. So we're going to try our best to make a Pokemon inspired by Pikachu, but have a completely different concept. I mean, it's not a Pikachu clone, but rather Pikachu shaped. It'll be super uncanny having a Pokemon with a Pikachu silhouette, but up close it's a completely different Pokemon. It happens in the real world. The separate head pattern surrounding a smaller face is directly from my original sketch. I decided to adopt a similar pose. This thing is flashy and obnoxious, not timid, so it's displaying itself. Again, I'm literally mimicking the same patterns. This will be an exercise in trying to keep every detail, but imbuing meaning into them. When I was a kid, I just thought the patterns looked cool. This time, I'm gonna give them purpose. I believe that they'll glow, and honestly, they should have an epilepsy warning. Huh. You know Porygon was banned from the anime because of the infamous episode? But we all know it was actually, Pikachu that caused the strobing effects. Something to think about when designing this Pokemon. But instead of being insensitive and making this the seizure Pokemon, I think these flashy patterns will instead be part of an X-ray theme. You know how in cartoons when someone is zapped, you see their skeleton for a second? What if these patterns mimic this trope? Since the original drawing was a centric Pikachu hybrid, I gave my new version some brown, but to sell the entire X-ray look, blue felt better. I even changed the spot into a heart to make it look more translucent. It isn't, it's just a pattern, but it has meaning, unlike the original dot. The original has a blatant Pikachu tail ripoff, so instead this guy has a bushy tail that glows and looks like a blast of electricity instead of a thunderbolt. I gave it pastel medical colors, like a nurse's scrub. But what if it was so flashy that it came in multiple colors, as if it was an exaggeration of the corporate mascot Pikachu is? Kinda like Pikachu representing the music genre of pop, and this Pokemon representing hyperpop, basically an obnoxious exaggeration of what is popular. Can you tell that I don't like hyperpop? Say hi to Usenko, the flashing Pokemon, an electric type, from the Japanese words for rabbit and flash. Usenko's tail crackles loudly as its body flashes. Its presence is always known. This proud Pokemon loves to be seen. It walks with such confidence and doesn't pay mind to people in Pokemon that disapprove of its loud and bright existence. It doesn't hide any aspect of itself. It never lies and will show its affection to those it loves. In battle, it blinds its opponents before leaping onto them, making full contact as they shock their foe. The electromagnetic beams that are released during its attacks leave imprints of its foe on the ground. It has the abilities Illuminate, Volt Absorb, and the hidden ability Galvanize. While its power and design take inspiration from Pikachu, I think I managed to create a new concept simply by exaggerating aspects of Pikachu, like its insane electrical powers and constant appearance in Pokemon media. And if you enjoyed this piece of media, leave a like and subscribe if you want to see a part 2. Make sure to check the description for the music I used, the t-shirts I made for you guys, and my Patreon where you can get cool rewards like seeing my videos days early, which you can also do by clicking the join button and becoming a member. Make sure to follow me on Twitter where I show sneak peeks of these designs too. I'll see you guys very soon.